if you're a beginner, I recommend first reading the Crocheting Guide for Beginners. This is the basics. If you've never crocheted before, I'd go through it, and there's a lot of great tips in here. There's abbreviations. It tells you how to hold your yarn, where to start, and a lot about the different stitches you're going to be using. After you've read the booklet, you're going to go to the pamphlet that has the notes on the back and on the front. This is your pattern booklet. Open it up to the beginning and let's get started. Okay, if you're starting with the first yarn and we're starting to make PIP, you'll notice that they have already done the magic ring for you. It's where these markers are. The magic ring is a little difficult for a lot of people, and I'll show you that later on, but they've already started it for you, so that's great. So you're going to skip to round 2, and you're going to put your hook right in the middle of the loop that they have already set for you. You're working in this direction, and they have already done 6 together, and that is round 1. Okay, so round 1 is the magic circle. We're going to start with round 2, which is 6 increases, which equals 12. So we're going to go in the first stitch right here, and I like to wrap my working yarn around my finger so I can see it. Pull it through, and pull it through again, and that's 1. And we're going to do 2 in there. It's a little tight, but that's okay. And then we're going to go, this is stitch number 2. If you're not familiar, all I'm doing is I'm putting it through the loop. I'm catching it, pulling it through. Now I have 2. And there we go. Pull it through again. Now we're on stitch 3. Push it through, wrap it around, pull it through, push it through, wrap it around, pull through 2. Now we're on number 4. Two. And number 5. 1, 2. And number 6. 1, 2. There we are. We can count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Round 3 says single chain increase 6 times. And that will equal 18 stitches when you're all done. So in the first one, stitch right here, you're going to do a single chain stitch. Then in the next one, this is number 2, you're going to do 2. At this point, if you have a hard time counting, you can use one of your stitch counters. So I just did 3, so I'm going to go back 1, 2, 3, and that'll be the beginning of the next round. And there we go. So we're going to do a single, and an increase. 1, 2. Single, put your hook through, wrap it around, pull it through, increase in the next one. 1, 2. All right, I'll meet you when we're done with this round. All right, I'm almost to the last stitch here of round 3. So I just did a single and I'm ready for my next increase, which brings me to my stitch marker. 1, 2, and that should bring me up to 18 stitches. Now you'll notice it's curving a little bit. Do not worry about that at this point. Round 4 says 18 single chains around. So you're just going to do 1 in each of these little loops. So I'm going to start with this one right here. I'm just working around my stitch marker. You can take it out and put it up into the next round if you'd like. So I'm on 2. 3, 4, 5, and I'll meet you when we get around, all the way around to 18. Finishing up round 4 with 15, 16, 17, and 18. Now here in the directions, it says your work is going to curve in. As you curve in, you're welcome to flip it inside out so that the right side faces outward. Then you're going to continue crocheting. At this point, I'm going to take my stitch marker out and I'm going to place it in at the next stitch, which will be round 5. My directions say round 5 through 5 through 9. So that's 4 rows. You're just going to do single chain 18 times around. So this is a good idea to use your stitch marker right here. So I'm going to do my first one. I'm going to put my stitch marker right in that loop. And then there we go. So that's 1. So I'm going to continue going around, counting as I go around. 2. I just give myself a little more yarn. 11, 12, 17, and 18. So in this stitch right here, if you really wanted to, you can add another stitch marker so that you're counting your stitches. Sometimes I'll have on my notebook, I'll just tally them. So you don't want to lose track of what row you are on. So we just finished round 5. You're going to do the same thing all the way up to round 9. So I'll see you back here when we are at round 9, finishing up round 9. Okay, as I'm sitting here and I'm finishing up row 9 with 18 stitches, I don't want you to worry if you lost count of your rows. It's pretty easy for you to count them. So this is where it should be. So if you start here at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So when I get to this stitch count, I should have 18 around and 9 rounds. All right, we have paused here at row 9 to add our eyes. So go ahead and get your safety eye, and you want to go down from rows up 2 rows. So we're at row 9, 8, 7. So in row 7, you're going to put your safety eye in. Please make a note here that if you're making this for a baby, you should hand stitch your eyes in. I would not use these safety eyes if you're making these for a pet or for a baby. So you just put the backing on and you click it on inside there. And then we're going to go over 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to put the other eye. And it's starting to come alive here, guys. Don't forget to click on your backing. And I just put it right in there, clip it in, and your eyes are on. Okay, we need to add some more happy face to him, so I'm going to show you how to do that next. You're going to get your embroidery needle, and we'll get started there. All right, here's what we're going to do. I put a stitch marker right in my loop where we left off so that we don't lose our spot there and it doesn't come out. I'm going to go ahead and take my black yarn and I'm going to put it through the darning needle, tapestry needle. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through the back, anywhere, it doesn't matter. And we're going to start with eyebrows. So I'm going to go through the back and I'm going to come out right here, 1 row above the eye. And then I'm going to go in a diagonal, 1 stitch up and over. And then you're going to stay in that same row and go over to the other eye. So the black there will be hidden. And we're going to go 1 stitch down. And then you can come out, if you want, through the opening here to make your eyebrows. So you're going to want to pull this through a lot further than I did, but don't pull it so far that there's none left. There's plenty of yarn here. So I'm just going to pull it through just a little bit more. And then I'm going to pull it through all the way. And there are our eyebrows. Super cute. Okay? After you put your eyebrows in, the next thing you're going to do is you are going to come right underneath your pickle's eye, and you're going to come up. Let me think through this. Up through. You're going to go across and down 1 into the center. 1 row into the center. So I came up through right under his eye. I'm going across. I'm going to go down, but come up through the center. Cross this over here, the yarn in front. And as I pull this, now we have to make them smile. So we're just going to go through the same exact hole that we went through and come on out. And there's his cute little smile. He's coming together, guys. So we have our eyebrows, we have our eyes, and we have our smile. So I'm going to take my thread and I'm just going to push it through. If it's not stuffed, you can pull it through and you can make a knot at this point. So sometimes you stuff it up into here and then you can make the knot in the back. But right now I'm just going to make a knot. And then you'll have to get your scissors from home. Don't pull too tight. and then cut off what's left, okay, with your scissors. So there we go. Okay, so the only thing missing from his cute little happy face right now is his cheeks. So if you want to do cheeks, you're going to go ahead and take your red thread. You're going to thread your darning needle. And we're going to do the same method that we did before to add the cheeks. We're going to go in through the side or the back, or up through. Let's go up through it. So I'm all threaded. We're going to go up through, one stitch over, and go down in the beginning of where you did your smile. Pull it through. I feel like I want it to be a little bit behind. There it is. And then I'm going to go ahead and go up through and one over. And there's our cute little cheeks. And then you're going to just tie it in a knot. And tie it in a knot. And then go ahead and snip it. My handy dandy scissors that I keep around my neck. I just got a ribbon and there we go. It's all snipped and in there, it's okay. And also your beginning string is in there because remember we turned it inside out. So all those pieces are in there and that's fine because what we're gonna do is we're going to do a couple more rounds and then we'll give it some stuffing. Okay, so our face is made and we're ready back with our crochet hook. Ready to go. I'm gonna make one stitch, go through 2 loops, pull it through again, and then in this loop right here, what you're going to do is you're going to put your stitch marker so that you can start counting. And the next part of the direction says for you to do round 10 through 17, 18 stitches, so 1 stitch in single stitch in each loop. So I'm going to mark this so that we can go around. And then we're just going to continue our single stitches. I tightened it up a little bit. At first when you start crocheting, you're real tight and tense, but you'll start loosening up and you'll start to get a feel for it. I remember my grandmother taught me how to crochet when I was maybe 10 years old, and I was so frustrated I couldn't figure out any of the stitches, and she kept ripping it out. I'd get a whole line of stitches and she'd rip it out and she'd make me redo it over and over until all my stitches were the same. But I really learned a lot from her and I really have grown to love crochet, and I love these little, small little animals you can crochet because it's a project. It doesn't take as long as a huge Afghan. So I'm just going to keep on going around. I'm going to do row 10 through 17. So I'm going to do, and then I'll come back. I'll see you back. All right, I'm back and I'm working on the very last row before we do the fun stuffing of it. So I'm at stitch number 4, 5, 6, 7, push it through, pull it, wrap it, 8, 9, 10, 11, 17, and 18. Now there is one more thing I want to do, so I'm going to put a stitch marker here so we don't lose where we are. And I left this one down at row 10 so I could count from there. Okay, so I've put my crochet needle away and I've grabbed my darning needle. You could have done this earlier, but I wanted to make sure that we did this and added it. So from underneath, you're going to go underneath and you're going to try to come up right by the eye. This is the white of the eye we're making. And came off my, there we go. And then we're going to go around, try to get in under there and through. And when you do this, you're going to guide it so that the yarn should go right around the eyelid or the eye. There you go. And you're going to do the same thing on the other side. I kind of like mine out to the corner. You can bring yours all the way around however you want. But I'm going to come in. It's a little harder with it pre-made this far. I'm going to start down lower. And I'm going to go up and around. And come back up. And let's see, I did it right around there, so that's where I'm going to do it for this guy. Try to put it right in there. There we go. Whoops, I want to get in as close to the eye as you can. There we go. And then I'm just going to pull it through. And put it on the outside of his eyes. Oh, how cute. And now it's time to stuff him. So we're going to go ahead and get the stuffing packet. Go ahead and cut it up. And it says, fluff it up, Buttercup. Go ahead and get your stuffing. It fluffs up pretty quickly. And I just take little pieces at a time. Knot the white. After you make a knot with it, push it up in there. And you'll be good to go. Cut it off. My nifty scissors around my neck. Start stuffing it up, Buttercup. Stuff it as much or as little as you want. And then as soon as you're done stuffing it, then save some of your stuffing because we're gonna keep on pressing a little bit more. You add small pieces at a time, press them down in layers. And then you can keep adding to your stuffing as you go. So now we're going to close up the bottom of our pickle, and the next direction would be round 18, and it's telling us that we are going to single chain and then do an invisible decrease. And I'm going to show you how to do that. All right, we're ready to close it up. This is how you're going to do your invisible decrease. So I'm ready to start. I have back to my crochet needle, and you're going to slip it up, your crochet needle under the front loop, and then you're going to have to maneuver it, go to the next stitch and do front loop again. So you have 3 stitches there. You're going to go around, pull it through, and then pull it through. That's how you do an invisible decrease. So it makes 2 stitches become 1 without even noticing that there's a difference. You're going to slide your hook under the front one. Well, first we have to do another single. So we do single and then invisible decrease. So we're going to slide our hook under, bring it around and slide it under the first loop. You've got 3 there. Pull it through 2 and pull it through. And then you're going to do a single. So I didn't put my stitch marker in there, but I know where it was because I know I've done single, in decrease, single, decrease. So I'm going to put it right in there. And I want to make a note right now, whether you've been crocheting for a long time or you're a beginner, the quality of this yarn is amazing. It is so fun to stitch with. It's so easy to manipulate, and it makes these projects a lot more fun. So there we go. I'm going to do one more to show you. You're going to do a single, which is through both loops. Then you're going to go to the front loop, go to the next stitch, pick up the front loop, wrap around, pull it through, wrap around, pull it through. So that is what an invisible decrease is. So the directions say for closing round 18 is single chain invisible decrease 6 times. That'll bring us down to 12. Let me finish that and then I'll be right back. All right, so I've made it around to round 18. And if you want to see, I've made it back to my stitch marker, and we should have 12. Let's count them. Hopefully we got them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Yay! I've counted and we're correct here. So I'm back to my stitch, and then the next round is to do the same thing, but you're going to do 6 invisible decreases. So you're going to do each one. You're going to not do any regular ones. You're going to do 6 invisible. So start with the first one, and it's going to be go through 1, go through 2. You have 3 on here. Go through 2 loops, go through 2 loops. Let's go to the next stitch. It's right here. Go through 1, go through 1, pull it through, and pull it through. That's 2. That's 3. That's 4. At this point, you're going to have to do a little bit more stuffing, so go ahead and put what you can left in there because we're going to be closing it up. Okay, we're coming to an end of our Pip the Pickle, and I have 2 more to do. So I'm going to do 2 more, invisible decreases. Here we go. 1, 2. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to cut about 6 inches. And what we're going to do is we're going to weave this through and pull tight. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pull this through all the way. Okay, then I'm going to put this on my needle. And the last 6 stitches here are whatever's left here. So I'm going to go through 1, 2, 3. I'm going to kind of go all the way around 4. And I'm just kind of catching the front loop. Get it to when you pull it really, really tight. I'm going to do one more, and then I'm going to pull it through tight with a knot. There it is. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to weave it through. All right, so just a little bit of tips here. If you see any white throughout, then maybe your stitches could be a little tighter. And if you're stitching too tight, it will be hard to get underneath, especially when you're doing things like the invisible decrease. So there we are, we're really, really tight. I'm weaving it through. Everybody has their own kind of method. I like to just sometimes go around, or sometimes I'll just go up and through and just kind of weave it through. And then when you're done weaving, you feel like you've done enough, go ahead and push it all the way through to the end to the other side. And if you want to do that a second time, push it all the way through. Give it a little bit of a snug tug. Ta-da! Pip's done. But we now need Pip's scarf and Santa hat. So let's get some new colors and let's see what we're going to do next. All right, Pip is done, and now we need to make his hat and scarf. So we're going to start with a scarf. You're going to get your red yarn, and you're going to have to do a chain. And in order to do a chain, I hold the yarn in my hand. I cross it around the first 3 fingers. I take my hook underneath and pull. This is my loop. Okay, you want your loop to be small. You know you did it right if when you're pulling, the yarn that's getting longer is the working yarn and not your end piece. So I'm going to do that one more time. Cross, I wrap it around. You can use this or your finger, but I use my hook. Pull it through until you have a small loop. And you know you did it right because when you're pulling on your loop, the part that's getting longer is your working. So here we are with our first loop, and we're going to chain 35. So let's go wrap it around, pull it through. 1, 2, wrap it around, hook it on, pull it 3, 4. Notice how I have my finger there to help me guide it. At first it's kind of hard, but you'll get used to it. So you want to keep going until you get 35 chains. And your chains don't want to be too tight or too loose. Just keep on going there. I do maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I kind of readjust. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a good way to help you count, or you can just go back to your first one and count from there. So I'll meet you back here when we get to 35. We have completed our first row of 35. Now the directions say to go into the second, you're going to work in the second chain from the hook. So here's the first one, 1, 2. So in there, you're going to go in, and actually what we're going to do is we're going to go in, and you want to do the underneath so that you're getting 2 pieces. First one's a little hard, but pull it through, pull it through. And now we're going to go to the second one. Underneath here, and pull it through. And then the third one. And that's 3. And then this is 4. So you're just going to keep on going all the way until you get to 28. Here we go with 5. Kind of pinch it with this hand, pinch it with this hand. Always when you start a new row, it's a little tricky. Some people will just pick up the 1, but I like to pick up the 2. And you're going to keep on working. This is what it should look like. Keep working until you get to 28 single chains. Here I am towards the end. I'm at 26. $27. 28. And then the directions say to chain 2. So we're just going to chain 2. 1, 2. And then it says skip 2. 1, 2. And then we're going to pick up here, and we're going to do the last 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and get in that last one. And pull it through. And there we are. So we have it, and it looks like this, and there's this one opening spot right here. And there's your scarf. It tells you to fasten off, so I'm just going to cut it about here, and then I'm going to get my needle and I'm going to weave it through. I might even tie these two together to make sure that it's fastened and it's secure. Weave them through, and then I'll come back. So I cut it off, and once you cut it off, you need to pull it through. And so I have these, so I'm going to knot them, and then I'm going to, because we're going to add on to them anyway. So there's my knot. I'm going to get my needle. And I'm just going to weave them through. So You can do it however you want. I like to go like over and under into this first braid. Sometimes they tell you you should go one way and then weave back through the other way. So maybe I'll just do a couple stitches back through the middle. That way it's tucked in nicely. And I'm going to get my scissors after I've weaved it through and cut it off. I'm going to go ahead and do that with this other piece right here. And then we'll see what's next. Okay, so we've made it to the pom-poms for the scarf. We finished our scarf, and the scarf looks like this. And it has this little opening here. Now we're going to make pom-poms, and the directions tell us to make 3 pom-poms. Now you've made it this far in the project and you have not had to make a magic ring because if you remember in the very beginning, they had one pre-made for you. I highly recommend you go into your brochure, into your booklet, and look over the directions on making a magic ring. Magic ring is very tricky for some people. It's very frustrating. This is what it looks like when it's done, and usually it'll tell you how many stitches you need to do in your magic ring, and you know that you've done your magic ring correctly because if you pull on your tail, the ring will get smaller. So I'm going to take this out. I'm going to show you how to do this slowly. Don't get frustrated. It takes a lot of practice, and I still get confused sometimes. So you're going to take your yarn in your hand with the tail hanging. You're going to loop it around. You're going to loop it around 2 fingers and pinch it. When you pinch it, you're going to kind of just hold it there, okay? Pinch it between your middle finger and your thumb. Then you're going to take your crochet hook and you're going to go through it and you're going to pull the yarn around, wrap it around and pull it through. And that's how we'll know that you've made the magic yarn. And the directions say to make 4 single chains. So that was 1. You kind of have to pinch it here. 2. Pinch it. 3. 4. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your tail and you're going to pull it tight. And when you pull it tight, it will have made a circle. Now don't forget to keep working with your working yarn. So start run is 4 around. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Round 2 is going to be to increase. So we're going to go in here and we're going to go 1, 2. Then you're going to go into this loop right here. Right here, 2, 2. Then you go here, 3, 2, 4, 2. Okay, so there you go. So that makes 8 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we are with 8 stitches there. Now, as this is curving, you can go ahead and flip it inside out. If it's too soon now, well, you kind of have to just do it now. Okay? Because you want the magic ring to be right there. Round 3 says 4 invisible decreases. It's a little hard because you're working with small. But we're going to go in the one little loop, the front loop it's called, and then the front loop again. Kind of have to maneuver it a little bit. Pull it through. Do it again 2 times. Through 1, through 2, pull through 2, Oh, I lost it, so let's do it again. Go through one, go through two, pull through, pull through. So you had 8 stitches and you're bringing it back down to 4. So you started with 4, then you went to 8. We're doing another invisible. And then one more. These are the pom-poms we're making, okay? So these little pom-poms, you need to make 3 of them, says the directions. And then what you're going to do is you're going to pull the tail tight. You're going to cut it 6 inches when you're done. You'll weave your needle through, pull it tight, and it'll make a pom-pom. And then you're going to take your string that you have left over and use that to sew it onto the edge of your scarf. It's a tiny little pom-pom. So I'm on my last one. I'm going through the front, wrap it around, pull it through 2, pull it through. All right, so now we're going to cut this. We're going to put a needle, put it on the needle, pull it through actually first. This one you can cut a little shorter. Okay, that's going to tuck in there. Kind of make it into a pom-pom. Thread your needle. Pinch it, push it through. Go ahead and weave it in the front end, the front loop. So we're going to go with 1, 2, put that guy in there, 3, 4. Then I'm going to pull that super tight. And that's your pom-pom. So what you're going to do is you're going to sew this pom-pom to the tip of the Santa hat. And you're going to do one of these for the Santa hat and the scarf. So we're going to do the scarf first. So I'm going to take my tip of the scarf and I'm going to push it through and loop it around again. Here we go. And there's your little, pull it through the yarn or the pom-pom a little bit, make sure it's secure. Go through maybe 4 or 5 times between the white pom-pom and the red scarf, and then make sure you knot it when you're done. And then I'm going to show you what you can do with the, so I'm going to knot it, and I'm just going to do it one last time just to make sure. Pushing it through. Here we are. I'm just going to push it through the white and the red and knot it. And when it's nice and tight, then what you're going to do is you're going to weave it back in through the pom-pom. So weave it through, bring it out, through the edge and cut it off. And there you go, your pom-pom is made. We'll do the same thing for the other side and make a third pom-pom, because then we're going to be making the hat, and we'll put the third pom-pom on the hat. Okay, if you stuck with me this far, you're doing great. So far we've made Pip, we've made his scarf, and we've made 3 pom-poms. And next, the last thing we have to do is his hat, his little Santa hat. Super cute. It'll round it off and make it done. We're going to start with a magic ring again. Cross over. Hold that circle. Use your middle finger and your thumb. Oops. Put this around here so you can have a nice tight hold on it. Loop it through. Wrap it around. Pull it through. There you go. Magic ring. Then we're going to do the directions, say 6, 1, 2, 3, single chains, 4, stick it under, wrap it around. Notice when I'm going under here, it's the whole loop. It's the crisscross of the loop, and that's fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you know you've done your magic ring right because when you go to pull here, it's going to pull your ring nice and tight and cinch it, and then you have, there you go. So it says round 1, make a magic ring with 6. Make sure you're working with your working yarn and not your tail. Round 2 says 6 single chains. So we're going to go through 2 and go around 1 time, 1 in each of the 6 that we started. 1, 2, 3, 4, go through 2 loops, pull it through, 5, and last one is 6. So we just did 6 single in the magic ring. Then we did 6 more around. Round 3 says single chain increase 3 times. So we're going to do, find the first one you did and get underneath that loop. And you're going to do a single chain, 1, then you're going to go into here and you're going to increase. So the same hole, 1, 2. Trying to do it nice and slow here. So then you're going to go into these 2, the next stitch. So I'm going to call this number 2. That's a single chain. Go underneath. One, same 1, 2. And we're going to do this one more time. 1 in here. And 2 in here. Okay. Wasn't too hard to count up to that point, but now I'm going to put my stitch marker in so I know. So we should have 9 stitches. Round 4, you're going to go around and you're going to do 9. I'm going to choose a different stitch so I can stitch marker. Got this cute little blue one. And so here we are in round 4. We're going to go around 9 times. 9 stitches, single chains. I'll see you when you're done. All right, we're back to the stitch marker and we just did 9 around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And here we are into round 5, which says 2 single chains, then increase 3 times to make a total of 12 stitches. So we're going to go 1, 2, single chain, increase. Remember, increase means to put 2 single chains in the same. So we're going to do 1, go back in there, 2. By now you're getting really good at these single chains. 1, 2, increase, 1, same 1, 2. Single, 1, 2. And in this last one, which is where our stitch marker would be, we're going to do 2. 1, 2, in the same one. There we go. It's the beginning of a hat. So now we have 12, so round 6 says to do 12 around. So go ahead and do 12 more, and then I'll meet you back here for round 7. If you've been referring to your pattern booklet, then you'll know that we're on round 7, and round 7 says that we need to single chain 3 times with an increase. So that is single chain, single chain, single chain, then increase. That means 2 and 1. You're going to do that 3 times around to get to 15. And you're just going to keep following your pamphlet all the way around, increasing and following the directions. And I'll meet you back here when we're done with the Santa hat, which would be round 13. So right now, go ahead and pause the video and do round 7 through 13. All right, so here we are with the hat. We've gotten the hat down. There's one spot in there during round 10 where it tells you to skip chain 2 and skip 2, and that's where this hole is right there. But I've gotten down to around 13, and now it says change to white yarn. And I need to show you how to do the change to white yarn. So you're going to take your white yarn, have your red, and you're going to make a loop. And the next thing it says is change to white yarn, and then round 14 to 18 says 24 chains. So you're going to scoot down, catch down, pick up your white yarn, pull it through. Make sure you have a tail, but you're not using the tail, you're using the working. And then you're going to pull that through. Now you'll see you have 2 loose ones here. That's fine. Just leave them there. Give them a little tug, because you're going to weave them in later. So make sure you're working with your working yarn. And now you've switched from red to white. And you're going to go right into the next one. And you can keep these 2 just sitting here and weave them in a couple times. Just lay them there and crochet around them. So that's 2. Go through your 2. Keep that in there. 3. I did 4 of them to keep it in there. And then after that, I'm going to drop them out. And I'm just going to let them hang free. There we are. So we're just going to drop these guys out. We've kind of crocheted them in. And you're going to go around 24. 4, 5, 6. Continue with your single chains. 7. 8. And you're going to continue to go around 24 for round 14. This is 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. And then when you get done with all of those, I'll come back and show you how to finish it off. That's what it looks like around it. And just continue going. I'll see you back. All right, I finished my rows of white and we're almost there. We just have a couple finishing touches. One, I want to show you that this is where we switched over colors. There is a more advanced way to do this so that you will not notice the switch over. But for this project, it doesn't really matter because what we're going to do is we're going to flip the white over. So in order to finish, you're going to take your scissors and you're going to cut along here. Pull this through. You're going to weave this one, and then don't forget you have these guys here. Cut those off, and you're going to weave these through. And then what I'm going to do is, remember we had that opening there? I'm going to take the string that I had here. Well, first I think we should put the pom-pom on. So go ahead, let's get the pom-pom. Remember we made 3 of them. We're going to put it through the needle. Go ahead and sew your pom-pom on, and then after it's sewed on, I'm going to go right to the tippy top here. Pull it through here. And then take it into a couple strands right at the tip of the pom-pom. Go ahead and pull it through. I would go through around 3 times. Go ahead and 3 times, give it a knot. You can't really weave it through the hat, but you can weave it through the pom-pom. So after you go through and sew it through, just like you would do any other sewing, go ahead and through. After I do that 3 times, I'm going to weave it through. Then I'm going to take this and I'm going to find that opening we had. And I'm going to pull it through the opening. You can put it through the needle if it'll make it easier for you. And I'm just going to sew it through to give it a really cute little Santa tilt. So after you do your pom-pom, finish that, tie it off, weave it through. Go ahead and give yourself a Santa tilt. Tuck in these, and then come back to me and I'll show you where we go from there. And here's the hat when it's complete. All I did was I tacked down the tip of it. I put on that cute little pom-pom. I flipped up some of the white underneath. There it is. The hat and the scarf can be tacked on if you want it to be, or you can keep it as removable. And I used the blush and gave a little bit of blush on the cheeks. I really had a great time making this tutorial. And I hope whether you're a beginner crocheter or a seasoned one, you learned something new and had a good time. I hope it sparked a little joy in your life. It really did for me. Thanks again for watching.